Next up, again, from Congressman Tom McClintock's office. This gentleman happens to be the Director of Community Outreach and also happens to serve on the board of the aforementioned charter school I talked about earlier in the program, the John Adams Academy in Roseville. He's on the board there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause, please, for Mr. Norm Gonzales.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you guys are getting a John Adams Academy overload today. If you have the opportunity, I would encourage you to come out and take a tour of the school. It is amazing. The learning that's going on and the restoration of American heritage is definitely needed. It's an honor and a privilege to have this opportunity to address such a large gathering of patriots. I would like to focus my remarks today on hope and provide you with what I believe are some opportunities that we have for change. I think we've heard those words before, right? Hope and change, I think somewhere. Contrary to popular belief, hope does not belong to the political left or the political right. Hope belongs to each individual. Hope is what motivates us to finish the race when our doubts tell us we can't. Hope is what empowers us when the odds are against us. Hope is what allows us to ultimately prevail, because hope is what will not let us quit. Change in and of itself is innocuous. It is the result of the change that determines its values. We want change as well, but unlike those on the left, our change is a restoration of American founding principles of fiscal responsibility, constitutionally limited government, and free markets. After the election of 2012, many people felt a sense of despair and frustration. Some people have expressed to me that they no longer saw the point and were going to give up. I'll tell you what I told them. My message is simple. You and I cannot give up. We cannot quit. As long as there is breath in us, we must fight, or else we condemn our children and our grandchildren to a life of servitude. If we don't give up hope, we find ourselves in good company like that of Samuel Adams, one of our nation's founding fathers and a person associated with the original Boston Tea Party, who said, "Never despair. That is a motto for you and me, and where there is a spark of patriotic fire, we will rekindle it." What we cannot do is hope without acting. We must, each of us, take on the call to put aside our desire for comfort or solace and engage in the effort to defend the founding principles of this great nation. It comes with risk, as do all things of great reward. If we are not compelled to action, to take up the cause of liberty and pursue it with all vigor, then our hope has been in vain. I'm reminded of the inspirational and rousing words of Patrick Henry, who said, "If we wish to be free, if we mean to preserve inviolate those inestimable privileges for which we have been so long contending, if we mean not basely to abandon the noble struggle in which we have been so long engaged, and which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon until the glorious object of our contest shall be obtained, we must fight. I repeat it, sir, we must fight." Those great men who signed the Declaration of Independence hoped for an end to English abuses, but they also understood that they could not sit idly by and rely on the benevolence of a king. They took action knowing full well the consequences, as they make very clear in the closing line of the Declaration of Independence. And for the support of this declaration, with the firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Some questions for us. What have we pledged in support of our declaration? What have we invested in the cause of liberty? What risk have we faced in pursuit of the preservation of our natural rights? In 2009, ordinary people from all walks of life who were concerned with the direction of our country rose up to make their voices heard. The movement that came to be known as the Tea Party was formed, catching the political pundits and special interest groups by surprise. In 2010, because of the efforts of countless people, patriots like yourself, there were significant political victories. The U.S. House was wrested away from Nancy Pelosi. Substantial governorships and state legislative seats were won, and it appeared that the pendulum was beginning to swing back toward our founding principles. In 2012, that was supposed to be the year everything was put back right again. Instead, we've seen that the majority of voters nationally and here in California wanted to protect the status quo, to re-elect administrations that are growing the government, attempting to erode away our God-given rights, and spin our nation and state into economic ruin. We've seen Republican leadership fail to stand firm on spending and continually compromise away the people's trust. I want to share with you two opportunities that we have for additional victories. The first is to qualify measures to place on the ballot in each of California's elections. Ballot measures that will bring real solutions to our woes and will check the agenda of the big government, tax and spend folks who use their authority of position to redistribute wealth. This legislature that you see behind me, it's dysfunctional and it's broken. The Democrats have supermajorities in both houses. They control the governor's office. They control every other statewide office as well. The Republican members of the state and assembly have about as much chance of passing bills out of this legislature as all of the water in the ocean fitting into a thimble. I say let the Democrats own their dysfunction and their denial, and we'll take the solutions directly to the people of California, checking their policies with the ballot box. The second item, and this is critical, is to turn our attention to local governments, to our cities and our counties. While I'm not advocating ignoring national or state races, I believe we must put our time, energy, and hard-earned resources where they will have the most impact and where each of us will have the most influence. That is right here in our own communities. Who are you most likely to run into at the grocery store? John Boehner or your local mayor? And thusly, who are you most likely to influence? Who are you most likely to get turned out of office? Harry Reid or the big government member of your county board of supervisors who has embraced central planning? It is critical that we reclaim and reinvigorate our local bodies of government because that is ultimately the battleground where the war for America will be fought. Any federal or state law is enforced at the county and city level, and therefore any federal or state law only has the force and effect given to it by local authorities. Look at the marvelous example we've been given by so many county sheriffs across the United States. Yeah, these patriots stood up against the overreach of the administration and its bureaucracies regarding the protection of our Second Amendment rights. We heard Sam Paredes earlier talking to us about the importance of the Second Amendment. But don't think for a minute that the debate in Washington hasn't been affected by the vocal and consistent public comments of the sheriffs who made it very clear that they would not enforce an unconstitutional law to restrict ownership of weapons or attempt to disarm law-abiding citizens. Where do most candidates who run for state and federal offices come from? They tend to come from positions within local government. How do you reduce the opportunity for big government tax and spend liberals to get elected to state and federal positions? You beat them at the city and county level. If you want to protect your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, then work to elect pro-Second Amendment sheriffs to your counties. If you want to prevent the implementation of Agenda 21, then get constitutional representatives appointed to your city and county planning commissions. If you want to take back the local schools, elect constitutionally minded representatives to your local school board. If you want to begin the restoration of American principles of constitutionally limited government, then take back your city councils, your boards of supervisors, and every other local elected position. I could go on, but I think the point is clear. If you want to defend the Constitution, elect good representatives to your local government. Samuel Adams is also credited with having said, "The liberties of our country, the freedoms of our civil constitution are worth defending at all hazards. It is our duty to defend them against all attacks. We have received them as a fair inheritance from our worthy ancestors. They purchased them for us with toil and danger and expense of treasure and blood. It will bring a mark of everlasting infamy on the present generation, enlightened as it is, if we should suffer them to be wrested from us by violence without a struggle, or to be cheated out of them by artifices of designing men. The sad state of affairs in America, the threat to freedom and liberty that we face did not appear overnight. It has been happening for years. They began with our schools, indoctrinating our students who go on to become our future leaders. They gained student seats on commissions and boards. They got elected to local governments, and they began winning seats in the legislature, working tirelessly for every victory that they could get. Day by day, election by election, those who wanted to fundamentally transform America into the image of the failed socialist states of Europe have been working to secure small, seemingly insignificant victories, seemingly insignificant like drops of water. Alone, they don't seem to matter, but over time, they combine to fill the land. Given enough time, the waters of tyranny can grow deep enough to drown the hopes of a once free people. Patrick Henry provides a call to action. The battle, sir, is not the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, the brave. If we were base enough to desire it, it is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat, sir, let it come. I know that we will prevail because we will be vigilant, active, and brave. I am encouraged by all of you here today. You have not given up nor given in. You have not yielded to those who seek to weaken our Constitution or fundamentally transform America. You are holding the line. Now is the time to bring home the fight. Now is the time to dedicate ourselves to this cause of liberty. And in the words of Winston Churchill, as long as we have faith in our own cause and an unconquerable will to win, victory will not be denied us. Thank you very much. Appreciate being here.
Norm Gonzales, ladies and gentlemen.